Hi guys, so today we'll be making one of my favorite breakfast foods, and that's Salvadorian breakfast cake. For this recipe, you will need some butter, some rice flour, white rice flour, some Parmesan cheese, baking powder, sugar, and sour cream. I'll be using reduced fat sour cream for this recipe. We'll also be needing a little bit of salt, some eggs, and that is it. So we start by measuring out our dry ingredients. I'm making half of the recipe today, so I'll be using half a cup of rice flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and also a pinch of salt, which I forgot to show you, but we will just be mixing all this together until it's incorporated and start on our wet ingredients. I'll be using a quarter stick of butter. I am not going to be using the whole stick of butter. I like to use less butter than the recipe calls for. And into that butter, I'll be mixing in half a cup of sugar. So it's a quarter cup of butter to half a cup of sugar, because I find that the recipe tends to be a bit greasy with butter and cheese. But that is just a personal preference. You can try the original recipe out and see how it goes. Alright, so once our butter and our sugar are beaten and fluffy, we will be adding in the eggs one at a time. Again, I'm making half the recipe, so I'll be using one full egg and one egg yolk. Mix that in together. Alright, next we'll be adding in our sour cream, and it's half a cup of sour cream. It's important that you use sour cream. Alright, and I'm also adding in the quarter cup of Parmesan cheese. I like to use already grated Parmesan cheese. If it's from a bag, then I pulse it to make sure it's nice and small once it goes into the batter. Now let's just give this a nice beating. Well, we're going to be beating this, guys. And once everything is all incorporated and our batter looks lovely, we will be mixing in our dry ingredients. I like to mix this by hand with a fork or a whisk, and our batter. Now we will just put it into muffin tins, and this recipe that I made, I had a total of 8 muffins. I like to put mine in wrappers because it makes it easier to separate from the pan. And this is also a personal preference, is adding sesame seeds. I like to add black sesame seeds to my little rice cakes, but not everybody does in my family, so I just do half sesame seeds, half without sesame seeds. Put them in the oven, bake them for 15 minutes, and this is what they should look like once they're done. Delicious.